Good evening, everyone. I wanted to cover a few questions tonight. I hope it's not too late on a Saturday night here to get some people out watching tonight, but we're going to go ahead and answer these questions. So the first one is from Throop Phil. I think Throop is asking, I'm drawing a blank for an organic K source stronger than green sand. Also, I don't need additional phosphorus. Suggestions? Well, green sand is a 0016, so stronger than that. There's a few things out there. Your most common is going to be the sulfate of potash, and that's 0052. Do make sure you get the mined version, not the conventional reacted version. The mined version is usually a little bit more expensive, but it is organically certified. So the one thing to think about that too, though, is don't let it get wet. We had a couple issues where we got it bulk and 1,000-pound or 3,000-pound slings, and it got rained on, and so the whole thing solidified. So we had guys out there with pickaxes trying to break apart a 3,000-pound brick of sulfate of potash. So definitely keep it under cover and spread it within a couple weeks if you're getting it. That's what we found was the best solution for that. So hope that helps. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. So the next one is from Natalie Farrell Howell, and her question is, baby cukes drying up on the vine. Our plants look beautiful, but I've noticed a number of cucumbers about ½ inch long just dying out. Thoughts? Well, a couple things could be on that. So the first thing I would think about would be stress. There's a number of different stressors. Most likely it's not your temperature, because you have to have really, really warm temperatures to stress cucumbers. And this time of year, unless you're down in, like, let's say, Arizona or Texas, you're not going to have those sort of temperatures. So I'm assuming it's not temperature. It could be too cold, though. But I would think it'd be more things like a nutrient stress. So you definitely might want to do a leaf analysis and send that in. Most, commercial growers that are doing a greenhouse full of cucumbers are sending in a leaf every other week or so just to make sure their plants are keeping up. Cucumbers are one of the crops that have the most nutrient needs, so they're hogs. So you really could be, compost tea every single week, a side dress every couple weeks really are helpful. But I would definitely go out there and get a analysis on your leaves and see what's going on. Let's see. Also, you could have too many fruit on there too. So sometimes the plants will self-abort if they realize they're getting too many, just too much load on the plant. Your plants looked a little on the young side, and for greenhouses, most of the commercial growers are actually thinning off the first week to 10 days of fruit to get the plant stronger before they go ahead and start having them bear. The other thing could be pollination. So not sure if you're using, if you have bees or bumblebees in the greenhouse. So if you have bees outside the greenhouse, sometimes they won't come in to pollinate. But you should really be doing gynotaceous cucumbers in the tunnel, which means the ones that actually don't need pollination. So they're only female flowers, or they just don't need pollination. So that would be ideal. But if you don't have bees in there, you may want to add some bumblebees to that. So that's what I've got for you on that. Definitely keep us updated on what becomes of it. If you end up sending us some leaf samples and stuff, do definitely send us a text or a message or something. We'd love to hear how that comes out. All right, let's take a look at another one. All right, so Todd Roth is asking, okay, how do you good folks out there store your Rowcover? Anyone have a rodent-proof solution? Rowcover is the rodents, just heaven. They love that stuff. So the first thing would be to wrap that stuff tight. Keep that stuff really tight. Prevents them from really just getting in there and chewing it around. Just a little bit harder. We've had, voles and rats and mice get into ours. Another thing to do is make sure you're not just stuffing it in a pile in the corner of a barn. So I've seen definitely where it's, dirt floor and just a wooden barn, and they just pile the Rowcover in the corner. Well, that's great news for any rat or mouse to just start digging in there and having a great old time. So what we would recommend is we tightly wrap it in the field. We label it. So we'll label it A, B, or C, depending on the grade. And then we'll label the size, the width and the length. And then we really prefer to actually have it up in like rafters or something. So like if we have 4-foot rafters, we'll just have chicken wire stapled below the rafters, or 2x4 dog wire, and then each rafter, between each rafter, have a different type of row cover stuffed up there. So obviously if you have really big ones, like a 30 by 300 foot piece, that can be a little challenging. So we then would store those just in bulk containers, or just off the ground on the floor. So as long as you don't have it easily for them to access, like just stuffed in a corner, a pile in a corner, then you usually don't have issues. But we find, keeping the grass down around buildings and just keeping everything picked up and neat, and there are just not that many hiding places for the mice, then we don't have a problem with the rodents. So, yeah, I hope that helps, Todd. Oh, and then other bait stations too around your buildings too always help. So we always make sure we did have bait stations and that sort of thing going on. That really would help with that. Ian Andrus asks, for those who are packaging salad mix in micros and clamshell containers, are there specific guidelines, protocols, etc. that you are following in the wash pack process? Are there regulations on packaging in this way? I'd like to start doing this, but I'm wondering about processing rules. All right, so if you're just packaging, let's say in a clamshell or something like that, in a raw product, so just salad mix or something, then there really isn't any specialized regulations, according to like the USDA or anything like that. There can be state-to-state regulations. I know Ohio is actually pretty rigorous about that. We fly under the radar because they just don't know we exist. But I assume after we get enough traction, they may start showing up and require some things. Certainly does help that I'm food safety trained and probably know the law a little bit better than they do in some instances. But in general, a lot of these state enforcers actually don't know the specifics of the law. So if you know the law, it's good because you can argue back with them on some of this stuff. I'm sure there's going to be some backlash from me saying that, but it's just what happens. So the other thing though, but if you decide to go and do something like a prepared salad, let's say like a chopped lettuce with some dressing and like cut tomatoes and that sort of thing, when you start cutting things besides the lettuce other than to harvest it, that's where you get into where you need like a 20C kitchen. Now, a 20C kitchen can give you a ton of optionality with product. I mean, you can do all sorts of stuff. The trick is getting the 20C kitchen built and produced, and that is actually relatively easy. So really, I really should create a course on, building your first 20C kitchen, because that is going to be, a key to us, really changing the way, people eat and the sustainable movement. Because go to the grocery store. What percentage of the food in the grocery store is raw versus prepared? It's probably 95 to 5%. So just do a walkthrough for me next time you're in there and let me know what you find. But I'm more than gonna confident to say it's 90. I was just the other day and I was looking at it myself, just for kind of see what's going on there. But yeah, it's prepared food is the way to go. It's going to really increase your optionality, your sales, and it's not that hard to get into if you look at the rules and really study them and see how you can go about that. All right, let's go to the last, and that was it. I only picked 4 tonight. Wanted to keep it a little bit short, keep it tight. So, all right, go ahead, like, share, comment. Keep sending the questions in, guys. Really been enjoying this. I've got a couple bigger questions I haven't been able to get to just because of they take a little more research on my end, and I have been doing some research, so I'm going to hopefully be able to get to them next week. But we are supposed to get a frost tomorrow night, unfortunately. We got strawberries almost ripe in the field, so we'll have to put a couple layers of row cover on those. Definitely keeping us busy, keeping us hopping. But have a great night, guys. Enjoy your Sunday tomorrow, and looking forward to catching up with you tomorrow night. All right, thanks, guys.